Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Davo from Esports bringing you another 1v1 Starcraft 2 cast today. Awesome. So, in the bottom left-hand corner of our map today, that is Cloud Kingdom, is the green Protoss, who goes by the name of Grubby. And Grubby is an awesome player. He's one of my favourite to watch. Actually, he's very creative, and he works so hard for the esports community. In the top right-hand corner today, we have Bobson, who is our Red Terran from Team Property, of course. This 20-year-old Swedish player has been playing for ages, and he's also very, very good indeed. But I mean, let's just go back to Grubby really quickly. This guy has gained some serious notoriety as being one of the best pro gamers around. I think it's 36 tournaments he has won over various games in his career, counting Warcraft 3 as well. He's very good at Warcraft 3 indeed. And on top of that, he runs his own events, and he and his wife, who he by the way met at a Warcraft 3 gaming event, well, their Masters League even in 2v2 on Starcraft 2, and that is of course what Starcraft 2 is today. That's what we're doing today. Hooray! 1v1 Starcraft 2 cast. Yes. And this cast will also, well, it should also be on GameView actually. So hello people on GameView. I've just appeared on your computer screen, and I hope you don't turn me off anytime soon. I mean, you can if you like. You know, perhaps you got to go and have a shower or something. I'm not implying people are smelly. I don't know, but there we are. So the map today is Cloud Kingdom, and Cloud Kingdom is one of my favourite maps actually. It goes in a nice S shape. See, I like to say it's S for Starcraft there. As you can see, all of that S shape is nicely kind of upward, as it were. It's not low ground, it is indeed high ground, because obviously you need to get up these ramps. And that's another cool thing about this map actually, is these ramps here are notoriously difficult to traverse if these rocks are still here, especially against Protoss players such as Grubby, because your army can very easily get stuck in this gap if the Protoss player force fields you correctly. So we do have Bobson going for a nice and early expand, and that is something that Terran players have started to do indeed, because I mean, Terran units are actually very, very good. Their bread and butter unit, the Marine, is one of the badasses of space in a pretty big way. I mean, look at this guy's face. He eats nails for breakfast. So, I mean, many Terrans do actually feel like they can just expand like this, and that's absolutely fine, because their early game units are very good indeed. And against Protoss players as well, that's great, because obviously the kind of staple, the very, very early unit, Protoss unit, is pretty much the Zealot. The very early game Protoss unit is the Zealot, and of course they can be kited by said Marines, just like you might do in World of Warcraft, for example. Hooray! Apart from they don't have any sort of slowing effect. prOpBobson has actually put an engineering bay right down here in Grubby's natural, just to be annoying, so Grubby cannot expand as quickly as he likes. But there we go, the natural has gone down straight away, and we have the Stalker coming out to have a prod and a poke, which is fairly common for Protoss players to do. And he will literally just be walking around looking for any funny business that is going on, including proxy racks or anything like that. But more importantly, he wants to know if his opponent has expanded. And on the other side of the map, this Zealot has just found out, as he nearly got chased to death right there by that group of Marines that were sitting nicely in the bunker. And we can only presume that they were drinking tea or some sort of space-age beverage, because everybody knows that tea is indeed a space-age beverage. And that is all well and good. We do have both gas up for Grubby right now, which is pretty damn standard to have at this point. And they're also destroying the supply depot at the bottom of the ramp. Many players do actually like to do this, because of course it can kind of disturb their building placement, depending on what they want to put there. And that is the whole point, really, because it makes it less easy for a player to block off the bottom of their ramp very, very quickly. And that is something that Blizzard were quite keen to do, because if you do that, then the attacker can't get any vision of the high ground, and they get kind of butchered, because their units have no leg to stand on and nothing to aim their weapons at. This Stalker could get away right now, Oh, and he does just about. The concussive shells hasn't actually been started yet for Bobson's Marauders, so there won't be any debuff on that Stalker for the speed thingy, for his speed. Hooray! Cool. And here we go, we have lots of sentries on the map right now from Grubby. And they, as I've mentioned previously, they're very, very good because they can just press F, bam, well, the player can press F, and put a force field right here in between these rocks on this ramp and cause all sorts of havoc. Indeed, Immortals on the way as well, so we do have Grubby firing up the heavy weaponry, and of course Immortals are pretty dang awesome, seeing as they do have that special shield that limits every incoming damage down to 10 points, which is pretty important, really, because it's good for taking down things like siege tanks and all that. But one thing about Immortals is they don't actually do that much damage against light units, and they do suffer tremendously against light units because light units have a higher rate of fire. So, I mean, obviously with a higher rate of fire and damage being below 10 anyway, this hardened shield doesn't actually count for very much. And of course when the shield is gone, it's gone, and then the Immortal can actually just get crushed fairly quickly. And it's, you know, many players do like to do what Bobson is doing right now and build Ghosts, because Ghosts have the EMP ability, and that'll make damn sure basically that Immortal goes down very, very quickly indeed. And we do have a observer on the field right now from Grubby, and I'm sure that he has seen the Ghost that is on the field. And will be responding pretty much accordingly and getting some Colossus out. Generally, if a Protoss player goes High Templar, you'll see Ghosts. If a Protoss player goes Colossus, you'll see Vikings. And in this case, Grubby is just going the opposite way and getting Colossus out, which I think is definitely the right decision at the moment. Of course, getting the Thermal Lance upgrade, as well as his 1+ weapons and armor upgrades as well. So Grubby is building a potent cocktail of army right now, and he will need this to defend against what Bobson is about to throw at him, because Bobson does actually look like he is going to be running into Grubby's lines at any minute now to come and try and do some damage. And here we go, it does actually look like we're going to see some combat right now. The Colossus very nicely positioned on the high ground right now, and this should be easily holdable by Grubby. And I think Bobson has placed a scan down and decided, you know what, I'm not going to go and do this, because I do believe that Bobson has actually seen that Colossus, and it would be pretty dangerous for Bobson to move in on that, especially as Grubby has so many sentries and they're all nicely spread out to avoid the EMP. In fact, Grubby's army in general is just really nicely spread out, and it does look like perhaps Grubby is just going to really casually expand and then move out with his army as well. Of course, Colossus do all sorts of damage against light units. They are just the king of roasting away light and biological units. They love it so much, and this cheeky probe is going to be putting down a pylon nearer Bobson's base in order to warp stuff in and all that good stuff. If this gets lifted off anytime soon for Bobson to expand, then, well, quite frankly, he might see the pylon, and that would blow the whole attack that is going to be coming. A Stalker, unfortunately for Grubby, loses his life right there in the middle of the map, but it does actually look like these Colossus are just going to come in and take their revenge very, very quickly indeed. That Marauder will never see his family again. Poor guys. And there we are. More units being warped in by Grubby right now. The macro of Grubby, as always, is very, very good indeed. And it does actually look like Bobson knows what is about to happen. It is all hands on deck to be ready to repair these bunkers, because he will need to do that. And looked for a second like these guys were here to stop stuff from running away. I mean, you would love to run away, wouldn't you, against this kind of thing? We do have Grubby just slowly roasting away these bunkers before he goes in and does the big push. And here we go, here is the big push. Really, really nice force fields right now, stopping quite a lot from the DPS unit, DPS dealing units of Bobson getting through and actually damaging the Protoss army at all. And that is one wonderful way to minimize your losses. One EMP does go off over Grubby's army, and it does actually look like that EMP has damaged the shields of many, many of the units, but it doesn't actually look like Bobson has that many firing units left, and it looks like this game could go to Grubby pretty damn quickly, very, very soon indeed. Of course, Grubby warping in more units as we speak, his macro being top-notch. and try and take down that command center as well. Obviously, command centers can fly, so he just simply flies it away instead of having it blown up or anything like that. And we have Grubby. He's done his damage, and he is just going to be coming back right now. How many workers were killed there? Grubby has just killed 12 of his opponent's workers, and quite frankly, just look at how much green there is on the units killed, workers killed tab. It's not looking good for Bobson. There's a big supply discrepancy at the moment. And here we go. Here is the next battle. It does look like Grubby perhaps is actually just going to move straight in for the kill right now, kind of baiting that Viking towards his Stalker is a pretty good idea. Many Protoss players might have actually gone the wrong way with this, and the force fields might have not been as good. Grubby just want to make sure that this battle is completely his. Haha, grats from Bobson. No GG, unfortunately, as is customary, but there you go. Alright guys, well, big shout out to GameView and GameView people, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, and I will talk to you guys next time. Cheers.